unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is indeed the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So guys, today's pick a card reading is all about your signs prediction for July of 2020. And in order to receive the most accurate reading for July of 2020, I would recommend that you watch your sun sign, your moon sign, as well as your ascendant sign. And of course, the timestamps to all 12 signs can be found down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. So all that you need to do is click the timestamp that corresponds to the sign that you would like to watch, and the video will fast forward to your part of the tarot reading. And before I get into the readings, I just want to thank all of you for your support. I can't believe that we're almost at 200,000 little unicorns in the unicorn fam. So I would just like to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for supporting me in so many ways. Whether it's watching my videos and leaving really sweet, kind comments, following me on Instagram, checking out my online store, you do it all. And I am truly so grateful and thankful to be able to share this content with you, because you guys are really the ones who make this possible day in and day out. So I would just like to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart and just give you a big hug, a big thank you, and just a lot of gratitude. So anyways, you guys, I don't want to make this intro too long. I'm gonna get into the readings, and I will be starting off with the Aries. And to all of my other gorgeous zodiac signs, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, all my beautiful Aries of the world, and welcome to your reading about July of 2020. So I have all my decks prepared here, and I will just be shuffling and laying the cards intuitively, allowing you to receive the most accurate reading that way. So just lean back, relax, and enjoy. So we have the Queen of Voices as well as the Three of Emotions. So as an Aries, you're already very adventurous. You're already the type of person who isn't afraid of new challenges, as well as just challenging themselves. So I see here in the Three of Emotions that it's going to be really fun for you to reconnect with people who are important to you, who mean a lot to you in July of 2020, as well as just having fun, you know, in parties and going out and just slowly being social again. Okay, so one thing that I can see here is that this really resonates with your adventurous side, because you may have been feeling for the past months like you couldn't really live out that side of yourself that is oh so important. In the Queen of Voices, I see just you voicing your opinion in a way that is very clear and precise, if you will. You're not allowing any room for error or for misunderstandings, because you just want to remain very matter-of-factly, and you don't want anybody to misunderstand or misinterpret your words, because as an Aries, you can get pretty angry and quick-tempered when people kind of like take your words and twist them or change them into something that they were never meant to be. And that is where I see in the Queen of Voices that you have a very calm demeanor during July of 2020, and just basically saying it how it is, but not getting into arguments with people who don't really deserve that kind of attention, because some people honestly just look for arguments. But I see that you're avoiding that. You're just like, no, this is not for me. This is not the vibe. Then we have action. So one thing that I can see in action for you, all my beautiful Aries, is just the fact that July is going to be a month that is filled with things that you're doing, things that you're actively engaging in. And I want you to know here that, you know, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. It can feel like a tidal wave that's just crashing down in your world. But after kind of like a little bit of a time of complacency or not being able to maybe take as much action as you would like to, I see that action is really just like a nice change, getting the things done that need to be done or have just been like sitting on hold for a long time. Then we have courage. So speaking up in this very like clear, concise, and mature way is maybe something that will take a little bit of courage for you to do, especially if this is in relation to love or immediate family, if you've been unhappy with how things have been going or how a certain somebody has been treating you. I see you summoning the courage to finally bring it up. After all, we have the Queen of Voices within your reading, which just shows that you're at a place where you're ready to have a conversation where you don't take things personally, but at the same time, you're not making excuses for other people and their behaviors. Then we have purity. So one thing that I can see here in purity is just you being able to be more of yourself without feeling shamed for it. So if you've always kind of felt like the odd one out or the strange one in the family in your circle, this is like just a breath of fresh air for you in July, where you feel like, okay, I'm just going to be myself and I'm not going to be afraid anymore. For instance, if you talk about spirituality or just things that really interest you, where you feel like you always have to put a disclaimer on it that, oh, this is going to sound really strange or really hippie-ish or really, you know, whatever the term may be that people could perceive you as. Not putting a disclaimer on yourself and your emotions anymore, and instead just really leaning into them is one thing that I see for you in July. Then in simplicity, I see that at the end of the day, this month is going to be very relaxed in a way. So there is a lot of action going on, but there is nothing happening that just like kind of tears the rug from under you. There is nothing happening that makes you feel as though, wow, this was a really unexpected, big, life-changing event. And that can be good, especially with things that have been going on in the world recently. Just a little bit of normality can be something that just sounds so inviting and so necessary. So allow yourself to just enjoy the simplicity that July brings, as well as the fact that, you know, there are a lot of beautiful facets in things being simple and easy to understand that we often just look over. For instance, the simplicity in just enjoying nice weather, or just knowing what's happening in work, knowing what your schedule is, and just sticking to it. Even if it's a lot of work, just knowing that, you know, at least I have a set schedule. I know when I can take time to relax, but I also know when I have to get things done, so I can plan accordingly. Then we have nurture, as well as commit to happiness. So all of my Aries, one thing that I want you to do here is just to commit to your happiness, okay? July may be a month, like we already kind of spoke about, maybe a month where you feel like people are trying you, okay? Where you feel like people are trying to get you to a place where you act out of character, just so they can then use your words, twist them, or point out and say, ha, see, you're acting out of character. You are as crazy as I said that you would be. So often there are people who will use your emotions and push those buttons to make sure that they catch you in that moment off guard, and they can use it against you. But one thing that I can see here in commit to happiness is that you've really come to a point where you see through those games, or where you at least realize it with the person who does it over and over again and hurts your feelings with it. And you're just like committing to not allowing it to affect you, and just putting yourself in a space where you know that the only person who really has control over your happiness is you. And that is where nurture comes into play. Nurture is connected to the number 4, and the number 4 is all about stability, is all about feeling like you have like safe grounds, if you will. So you just nurturing yourself to a place where you feel safe and not like somebody else is in control over your emotions and your dignity. Then we have the cardinal moon as well as the fixed moon. So one thing that I can see in the cardinal moon is that it's required for you to be bold a little bit in July, to make the first move, to not feel as though you're kind of not in the place to do so. So this could be in love or your career. Furthermore, I also want you to know in the fixed moon that your guides want you to hold on to that vision that you have of success. And that is often what can give you the courage as well as the energy to take the first step. So don't feel as though your dreams are too big or too far away, or like allowing yourself to get sidetracked by other things. Hold your vision onto what it is that you want and take inspired action that way. Then we have the mutable moon as well as the north node. So one thing that I can see here in the North Node is the fact that stepping outside of your comfort zone is something that is coming for you in July. As I said, it's not going to be like a huge step outside of your comfort zone, but just a little itty bitty one. As I can see here in the mutable moon, that things are changing course again, okay? So if you felt as though life was in a steady place or life was in a place that was solid, I just want you to know that there still can be little micro adjustments that need to be made. And sometimes it can just be too much. The smallest micro adjustment can just feel like that is the straw that broke the camel's back, when you've already had to like deal with so many changes going on in your life in this world. But don't like turn the little straw into something bigger than it is, when in actuality to you it's just like the fact that you're already dealing with so much, you don't even want to take an extra tiny little ounce of weight, which is understandable, but don't blame it on something small or feel like you're going crazy over something small. Address the bigger issues, address the bigger change that you've been going through during 2020, or maybe for the past years even. You already felt 2020 brewing and like something special, something so different was going to happen. So all my dear Aries, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Leave a little comment down below if you did. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if this is the first time that you're here. And I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all my Tauruses of the world, and welcome to your reading. So I'm going to be shuffling and laying the cards intuitively, so all you need to do is lean back and enjoy your July prediction. So first and foremost, we have flexibility as well as love. So all my Tauruses, you're grounded, you're dependable. People love how patient you are, and that is truly a beautiful trait to have. So I want you to know that as a Taurus, it can be a little bit scary when you have to be flexible, because you are a very kind of fixed sign, okay? You are a sign that likes to do things a certain way. So when you, for instance, have a favorite food, a favorite restaurant, a way how things just work for you, you don't like to switch it up, okay? You like to have your routine, which is also another healthy thing. But I want you to know here in love that July is coming with some exciting, different opportunities that you should try out. So this could be romantically, this could just be intimately, and intimately, yes, on an intimate basis. And it's important for you to allow yourself to explore those different things, to not feel as though you have to kind of like stick to what you know, and to be a little bit more adventurous, to allow yourself to be flexible. Let's move further into reading. We have the aquamarine as well as the fluorite. So one thing that I can see here in the aquamarine is that you're back on track to following your divine life purpose during the month of July. So up until the month of July, it may have sometimes felt as though you're not quite following your life purpose, or maybe you're not on the right track, maybe you're not on the right journey. But I see here that July is really bringing back that grounded feeling for you, where this is where I'm meant to be. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and there's no reason for me to wish I were in a different place or a different dimension. In the fluorite, I see here that July is really a month that brings out your natural beauty. It is a month where you feel attractive and lovable, and you just exude attractive and lovable vibes, which is most likely just going to make you more radiant and just nicer to be around. And not to say that as a Taurus you're not usually nice to be around, but there are just those times in life where you're a bit more fun, a bit more like easygoing, a bit more open-minded, and just feeling yourself, really. Then we have the dolomite. So in the dolomite, one thing that I can see is that there's a positive outcome coming for you, but it kind of like, how should I say this? It depends on your attitude, okay? That is one thing that I see in the dolomite. So for me to say there's a positive outcome coming, well, yes, it does depend on your attitude. If your attitude is kind of like a little bit pessimistic when it comes to love, when it comes to trying out these new things, then of course the outcome may be very mediocre. But let's just already put ourselves in the headspace that you're going to do well, that you're going to allow yourself to just be a part of new things, to think outside of the box, to try new things that you've never tried before. And that is where I see positivity coming towards you, things that you desire. Then we have the titanium rainbow quartz. So I want you to keep in mind that July is going to be very multifaceted. There are going to be a lot of different layers to this month. Now that can make the month a little bit confusing. It can make it a little bit overwhelming, but at the end of the day, as I said, the outcomes are very dependent on how optimistic you are. And this is actually something that is scientifically proven. Optimists do live longer, healthier lives than pessimists do. So, I mean, why should we actually only be optimistic in July? Why not always be optimistic? Whether you end up getting what you want or not, being optimistic in general just puts so much of a better mood into the room, into this world. We might as well just gift ourselves with optimism and know that regardless of what happens, like, it still is having a positive effect on your life. So it's a win-win. Then we have the full moon in Aries. as well as the cardinal moon. So things are coming to a fiery climax in correlation to love. Okay, this could of course be like your love life reigniting, as well as just like meeting somebody and finally coming to the conclusion of whether it's going to work out or whether you're going to let it be. I can see here in the cardinal moon that it's important for you to just be able to know that it's fine for you to be bold and for you to make the first move. Sometimes it is even required. Sometimes people need that, okay? Other people are sometimes so intimidated and scared about making the first move that they just wait for you to do it. And especially being a Taurus, as I said, you're very grounded, you're dependable, people love that. But you can also be difficult to read. You can also make people feel insecure because you seem to be such a rock, somebody who is so in control that people can get intimidated. So allow yourself to be aware of this kind of energy that you may be exuding and be a little easy on people and make the first move when you can. Then we have the Five of Voices, as well as the Ace of Voices. So the suit of voices corresponds to the suit of swords in the traditional tarot. And I want you to know here in the Ace of Voices that we have kind of a new and fresh beginning when it comes to communication. So love is something that could just spark on a whole new level. But in the Five of Voices, I also see here that that new route of communication may not be the best for some people, okay? The number 5 is a challenging number. It is a number that can bring friction. So I want you to just know that during the month of July, it's very important for you to watch your words, watch your tone, watch your body language, because the things and the intentions that you have behind the things that you're saying or you want to say may come off the wrong way with other people. Now, is that 100% your responsibility? No. But of course, when you pay attention to your body language, the way you're saying things, you can just kind of do your part to make sure that communication remains friendly, positive, and also effective with other people. Then we have the Five of Materials. So one thing that I see here is that July is not the month for you to start a new business, okay? So don't start any new businesses. Work on the things that you already have. I see here in the Five of Materials that sometimes things can just get so overwhelming that you just add another thing. I know it sounds really silly and controversial, but sometimes when a lot of things are going on, we want to add another thing, or we want to just start a new project just to put all the other chaos away and start on a fresh slate. But try and refrain yourself from doing so during the month of July. Then in the Six of Emotions, I see here just being in a place where sharing your emotions is really just going to trigger fabulous memories in July. So share how you feel, the aspirations that you have. Just spend some time with friends and family over a nice cold drink, a refreshing meal, and just really just share how you feel, what you've been going through during the entire time that this world has been in this crazy situation, and just share these thoughts, share these emotions, because there are people around you that really need to speak about it, and they would just love to hear from you. They would love to have somebody to relate to. So you have this very relatable energy during July, and I want you to use that to continue building up your relationships and making them stronger and stronger. So all my Tauruses, I truly hope that you enjoyed your reading. I hope that you found it insightful and it gave you valuable insight and information. That's what I'm here for, after all. So wherever you are in this world, I wish you an amazing day or night, and I'll see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all of my beautiful little Geminis of the world, and welcome to your reading. So I'm going to get straight into it by shuffling and laying your cards intuitively, just for us to get the most accurate reading possible. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, we have Temperance. So all my Geminis out there, you're very flexible, you're very versatile, but when it comes to certain things, such as for instance addiction, it can be hard to keep yourself away. I mean, it is like that for every single sign, but of course for you, because things can just happen so quickly and your mind just moves very quickly. You're somebody who has a lot that just goes on mentally that people don't know about or don't hear about. You can change your mind very quickly and things can just move at a rapid pace. So allow yourself to come to a place of stillness during July in order to just keep everything in a good controlled environment for yourself. Then we have the Three of Materials. So in the Three of Materials, one thing that I can see here is that where you can really just channel your wittiness as well as your versatility into is your career, okay, your professional life, your business life. I see here in the Three of Materials that There is still a way to go to the point that you want to achieve, but at the same time, there are a lot of building blocks that can potentially be added during July of 2020 if you only allow yourself to channel all of the nervosity that you can sometimes come with into a project, okay? And that then calming you because you know, okay, I'm doing something to build, I'm really being productive here and effective. Then we have the 5 of emotions. So all my Geminis, I want you to know here that you may struggle with some emotions during July that make you feel as though it's hard to remain in control of your emotions. And if you've been detached from your emotions for a very long time, if you haven't taken a good look at them in an awful long while, then this may just be a lot of things that have been bubbling under the surface that are now resurfacing or finally surfacing and trying to get some air, okay? So some of these things that you may have been pushing to the side could be childhood trauma, it could be different feelings that you've been going through that you just kind of dismissed or thought weren't important, but they're coming up in July and they want you to make them a part of life, to look at them and to accept them. Then in the Queen of Materials, I see that your money game is strong, all of my dear Geminis, okay? In the Queen of Materials, I see you making amazing decisions when it comes to your career, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about your financial decisions either, as that is all in track during July of 2020. What you really need to pay attention to are your emotions, and know in the Queen of Materials that people see you as a leader, people see you as somebody that, you know, on one hand is stern, business oriented and will get things done, but on the other hand is still open enough and approachable enough for people to be able to speak to you. Then we have truth. Okay, so you are not sparing anybody in July, okay? So as an air sign, you're already very strong when it comes to your communication. You can sometimes be blunt, and I see here in truth that that is exactly what is coming for anybody who is kind of around you during the month of July, okay? You're going to be blunt, you're going to be honest, you're not going to sugarcoat your thoughts, your feelings, and the things that you have seen, the things that you have witnessed, and you're being completely just transparent. And this is something that we see happening all over the world, but for you especially, you just want to broadcast the truth. You just want to make sure that people are not misinformed, which is a very important role for people to have in this world, and know that you have been chosen to be one of those people who display truth and nothing but truth. Then we have fulfillment. So July is going to bring an awful lot, an awful lot of fruit, as we can see here in fulfillment. And I want you to know here that manifesting with the moon during the month of July will bring a lot of things to fruition, okay? So manifesting with the moon is a very powerful celestial event for you to make use of. It's a very powerful celestial ritual, so I truly want you to engage in that and to know that, yeah, materially, earthly wise, everything is well. Last but not least, from this oracle deck, we have solitude. So I see here in solitude that, you know, just spending time by yourself really gives you a little bit of time to contemplate and reflect on these emotions that are popping up that you maybe did not want to deal with, really not want to deal with. But solitude is going to give you time to work on that. Solitude is going to give you time to look into it and kind of also be a little bit confrontational with yourself and tell yourself that, like, you're not going to avoid dealing with emotions any longer. Then we have the azurite. So the azurite is about deep emotional healing. How fun is this? The fact that these things are coming up. We can see you're spending time in solitude during July, just thinking about it, just contemplating and really processing your emotions. And then in the azurite, we have this amazing development where you come to deep emotional healing. And we all need deep emotional healing. We all need time just with ourselves to heal any kind of like emotions or how should I say, memories that trigger us in a way or make us feel very depressed, very anxious. And I see you just doing more healing than you've done in a long time during the month of July. Then we have the garnet. So in the garnet, I see here that that is going to just purify and detoxify your life. Furthermore, purification and detoxification is what your guides and the universe really wants you to take into the month of July. So allowing yourself to eat only the most nutrient dense food. Use food as like medicine, okay? Because food really does fuel your life. It fuels you. So make sure that the fuel that you're putting into your body is always like top-notch, high quality, and that you're using it to heal yourself. Use food to heal, not to conceal, okay? Especially if you're an overeater or somebody who's a nervous eater, you may use food as a way to harm yourself. It is self-harm if you're just like concealing feelings and emotions by overeating. Some of us undereat. Then we have sincere relationships, as well as get clear. So I see here that just being very blunt, upfront, and honest is going to bring a lot about some relationships to light that you may have not been completely sure of. But I see here that what will remain from July onwards are sincere relationships, as well as relationships where clear boundaries have been set. So if you've been kind of in a difficult situation with a coworker, with just family, extended family, where you feel as though there haven't been boundaries really, or your boundaries haven't been respected, I want you to know here that they're going to be clear in July, and nobody's going to want to cross them, because they can already feel that you're not here for that. Then we have choice. Okay, so July really leaves you with a lot of opportunity and a lot of choices that are exclusively your choices to make. So in correlation to temperance, which we spoke about first, I want you to know that it is completely your choice how you allow certain people as well as substances to affect you, how you allow food to affect you, how you allow, for instance, your brain chemistry to have an impact. I'm not saying like you can 100% cure an addiction or any kind of imbalance in your body. That is at all not what I'm saying, not at all, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that your mood, optimism, as well as just making that conscious choice to make the best of your situation, to try and just like not beat yourself down for failing at something or struggling at something, but instead knowing that you're just going to do your best, and if it doesn't turn out perfect, you'll just try again next time, and nothing is lost. I want you to know here that you have a choice to just really have your experiences be more on the fulfilling, positive, amazing side during July, rather than the side that you feel is mediocre or, maybe okay at best. So allow yourself to consciously already make this choice right now, all my Geminis, to focus on the good, and also just focus on your sincere relationships and the people who uplift you and allow you to always see the glass as half full. So I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hope that you found it insightful as well as informational. Leave a little comment down below, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my beautiful Cancerians, and welcome to your July 2020 prediction. So for some of you, it's still your birthday in July. For me, my birthday is on the 29th of June, but let's move into the Cancerian reading, okay? So let's see what's up. First and foremost, we have the Fool. So one thing that I see in the Fool is just the fact that July is going to be like a fresh beginning, a new start, and it may be a little nerve-wracking, it may be a little bit intimidating, but I want you to know here in the Fool that generally when you start something afresh, there's always a lot of opportunity there for you. Then we have the Moon. So the Moon really just affects us so much, not just as human beings, but especially just as spiritual beings and beings who pay attention to celestial events and occurrences. As a Cancerian, you are ruled by the Moon, and this is just a connection that you maybe can't really describe, that you feel things. You feel like you're very psychic, you feel like you're very clairaudient, clairvoyant, maybe clairsentient, okay? That you just feel things. Emotions and vibrations just run through you. And I see this being very heightened in the Moon during, July of 2020. That may also be because you're nervous about your birthday and not wanting it to be less than fabulous or mediocre at best. So that could also be something that stresses you out. But let's move a little further into your reading. We have the Six of Materials as well as the Muse of Materials. So one thing that I can see here in the Six of Materials is just the fact that things in the earthly realms are moving in a delightful manner. So for instance, your job, your business, your side hustle, I definitely see things growing there. We have in the Six of Materials as well as the Muse of Materials just a focus on the earthly realm, a focus on creating that stability that you desire The Muse of Materials just shows me that you're in boss mode during July of 2020, which is great for all of your ventures that have to do with finances, that have to do with, you know, also just taking up a lot of your time. So allow yourself to just enjoy this boss energy, the fact that you have very authoritative energy and energy that people look up to in the business world during July. Then we have the Nine of Materials. Okay, so your reading is really about materials, and materials correspond to the suit of pentacles in the traditional tarot. As I said, it has to do with all things that are earthly, with all things that are kind of like finite in a way, okay? Because time is a finite resource. And I see here in the Nine of Materials just abundance when it comes to that, feeling like the days are so long, feeling like you can get so much done, and also just this feeling of being accomplished and being closer than ever to abundance, closer than ever to the abundance that you desire. But keep in mind not to feel like, oh, I'm closer than ever to abundance, as if, you know, there isn't already abundance in your life. Still appreciate the abundance that is already in your life, because when you fail to do so, you're just constantly in the pursuit of abundance and never really reaching it, okay? So enjoy the abundance that's already there, as well as the fact that you're right around the corner of a lot more. Let's move further into your reading, shall we? We have well-being as well as flow. So one thing that I can see here within your reading is just the fact that your well-being is one thing that is at the center of July for you. And as I said, it could be because you're trying to really make your birthday special despite any exterior circumstances, and that can sometimes be a lot of weight on your shoulders. You know, you may have some really big expectations at, you know, what the mood should be like or how you should feel on that day. So focus more on what like makes you feel fulfilled. Focus more on what will make you happy and not what will look good or what might make other people feel like you had a successful month or a successful birthday. Furthermore, in flow, I see here that, you know, things in the earthly realms, we already spoke about that, are flowing really nicely. But furthermore in flow, I just see that, you know, you've just opened into a new space where things just work. As we spoke about in the Fool, you're starting a new chapter in your life, a new cycle, just a new adventure. And I just see that this is more of the adventure for you. The first half of 2020 may have really just not been treating you very well for obvious reasons, but I definitely see things moving more into a flow state now. Then we have solitude. Okay, so as a Cancerian, you like to be at home. You know, you're a homebody. You're somebody who really values that privacy and the comfort of your own home. And I can see here in solitude that you are still spending a lot of time by yourself. You are still spending a lot of time just in your home doing things that, you know, a good homemaker would do. Like, for instance, cooking yourself some nice meals, watching some Netflix shows, watching some tarot readings on your laptop, whatever it is that makes you feel good and comforted. That is what I see you engaging in. But also in solitude, I want you to know that this can sometimes just be something that is much needed, that you don't need to see as a negative or like you are missing out. Spending time with yourself, learning to love your own company is very valuable. Then we have power. So I see here that July is a month where, as I said, you have this power, you have this very authoritative energy that people are not underestimating. Finally, right? Because as a Cancerian, often people can take your kindness for weakness or feel as though you don't really have that oomph in you. But I see here that, you know, you have a lot of phallic energy, which is masculine energy, that is backing you up and giving you just a little bit even of an intimidating aura during July. Then in the aquamarine, I see here that following your divine life purpose is really what is giving you this energy and this drive, just knowing that, you know, what you're doing in this world is needed, is valued, and is meant for you to, like, and you are meant to be doing that. It is meant for you to participate in the things that are your life path. So basically what I'm trying to say, I don't know why I'm saying it in such a complicated way, you feel very fulfilled because you know that what you're doing was meant for you, basically, the short, easy way. So that is one thing that I can see in the aquamarine. And in the lapis lazuli, I definitely feel like, you know, that fire will have been lit because you're coming to this epiphany where you just have this aha moment where you're like, aha, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. Like, why was I doing this before? This is where I'm meant to be. This is how I'm meant to feel. This is what sincere, honest, and just supportive relationships are supposed to feel like. And the things that I experienced before were experiences that taught me a lot, but now I just have this new clarity, okay? I have this newfound vision where I just like took the murky waters, the murky like gooey stuff from off of my face, off of my glasses, off of my eyes, and now I can see things for what they truly are. And I can see that my life path is just as important as anybody else's. So all my dear Cancerians, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home, as well as leave a little crab emoji, because I love seeing my Cancer unicorns, sisters, and brothers within the comment section. So wherever you are in this world, I wish you an amazing day or night, and I'll see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my beautiful Leos, and welcome to your reading and prediction of July of 2020. So let's move right into it, shall we? I'll be laying, shuffling, and just speaking about the cards intuitively right before your eyes. First and foremost, we have pleasure as well as stillness. So it seems as though in those very still moments, in the moments where you're just by yourself or with a partner or a romantic partner or a platonic partner, you're going to find just a lot of pleasure. This could be intimate pleasure, okay? This could be romantic pleasure, but it could also just be the pleasure of knowing, wow, I have a really sincere, lovely, amazing person right here who is always supporting me, who is always there for me. Because as a Leo, you know, a lot of people can be intimidated by you. A lot of people may feel as though you think that you're better, but that is not the case. The Leo does not have that at the core of their personality. As a Leo, you're very warm-hearted and giving, and people can just tend to misunderstand you. So I definitely see you just being in a warm hug and embrace, either literally or just feeling it like figuratively, where you feel so appreciated and loved by the people who are in your life. Then we have inner peace as well as fulfillment. Oh, so all my Leos, your July is just like looking emotionally so beautiful. We have inner peace that is, of course, all about you coming to a place of inner stillness, of meditation, and just feeling like you're whole, like you're in a good place. And furthermore, in fulfillment, just knowing that everything is as it is, you're in the exact spot that you should be in, and you're not missing out on anything. You're not lacking anything. You're not longing for anything. You're just content. So this is amazing news. I'm really excited to have received these messages for you so far. But let's move a little further into your reading, shall we? So this card just popped right out of the pile, and this is the 10 of Voices. So the voices correspond in the traditional tarot to the swords, and I want you to know in the 10 of Voices that one thing that I do see is that, you know, you've just been so emotionally exhausted by certain energy vampires or just energetically draining situations. It could even be social media, just waking up every morning, seeing more bad news, seeing more things that are going on in the world where, you know, it just like emotionally really hits you. That I can see here in the 10 of Voices that you're in a place where you've just moved on from that. You've realized that that is toxic to you, that certain people are toxic to you, and what you really need to do is just focus on your inner stillness, your inner peace. So that is the reason why you moved on. So if you're still in that cycle right now that you're watching this video, know that you're soon just going to put your phone away, cut that person off who's maybe like a relentless meanie, a relentless narcissist, and just say like, oh, I'm done with that. I need to focus on me. And it's going to bring you so much liberation and inner peace. Then in the 3 of Voices, I see here that, okay, you will be a little bit scared to do so, but oh, we have a few more cards that want to speak within your reading clearly. And that is the Moon as well as the 6 of Materials. So I want you to know here in the 3 of Voices not to worry about rubbing anybody the wrong way or making the wrong decision. At the end of the day, all my beautiful Leos, you know, if people want to think like you have this bigger than life personality and that you think X, Y, and Z about yourself, then that can sometimes just reflect their insecurities when they see somebody who is confident in themselves. So don't worry about that. I see here in the Moon that you will intuitively know who to trust and who can see that you are a warm-hearted person with pure intentions, who literally just wants to have a good time, who literally just wants to share experiences and be themselves. As I can see here in the 6 of Materials that even when it comes to like money, your time, everything that is kind of finite, if you will. I see here in these Six of Materials that you're like a big giver, a big sharer. You most likely have donated a lot of time, money, energy to people in different causes. And you know, this is just something that you should focus on more. And whenever you feel judged, remind yourself of all the good that you've done. And then we have the Aqua Aura as well as the Cellulite. So one thing that I can see here in the Aqua Aura is just the fact that your relationships are in a place where, you know, you need to just focus on healthy communication. I see here that just being very clear and assertive, that's going to allow you to not only be heard, but also make sure that the other person is actually taking in the information and not jumping straight to the defense. In the Cellulite, one thing that I can see here is that you're just gonna kind of like replace the worry about people seeing you in a certain way or judging you. I see that you're just replacing any codependency or people pleasing for, you know, being assertive as well as empowered. So July is really an empowering month for you. It's a month where you're moving away from just caring too much and you just continue to embrace your beautiful self. And then we have reliable. So your reliability is really going to be tested in July. If you're usually a little bit flaky or not the best person when it comes to planning, and know that July is definitely a month where you're going to have to plan like either a friend's like get together, birthday, some sort of like event at work, maybe a project, and that's going to be falling on your lap. Okay, so be reliable, show people that you can be reliable, that they can depend on you, and that you are organized, okay? So just a little heads up from your reading when it comes to that. Then last but not least, we have sleep. So have you been sleeping well? Yes, no, maybe a little bit sometimes, hit or miss. I want you to know here that creating a routine can be so helpful when it comes to sleep. It can be so helpful to know for sure what time you're going to bed, what your bedtime routine is, you know, be it brushing your teeth, doing your skincare, taking your vitamins, listening to meditation, whatever that is and however that works for you. Just make sure that you actually write your routine down and start following through with it, because that can really just give you a lot of security and a lot more of a calmer demeanor before you go to bed. And I know some of you like to sleep, for instance, with the TV on or a show playing. If you do so, I know it can help with sleeping. I've been there, done that. But one thing that I really just want to ask you to do, one thing that I can see that is really important, is to make sure that the media that you have on is positive. So don't put on like a crime documentary, something where your mind is, when you're in the sleep state, your subconscious is really like taking over, processing things, also hearing things around you, okay? So make sure that your subconscious isn't picking up on negativity, okay? Negative words. Even if it's not negativity charged towards you, I just want you to know, you know, things such as violence, things such as like just energies that you wouldn't want on yourself that are maybe interesting to watch, but you know, you need to keep that distance. Make sure that you're not allowing your subconscious to just be alone with that stuff while you're sleeping, okay? Put on anything else. A nature documentary, just some you'll probably fall asleep to that way easier anyways. Just something that is very positive, maybe even a little bit bland when you feel like you're about to fall asleep. So all my gorgeous Leos, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful as well as motivational. Leave a little comment down below what hit home for you, and if you're going to make sure that you're just letting your subconscious consume positive material. No more crime shows before bed, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all of my beautiful Virgos of the world, and welcome to your July 2020 prediction. So I'm going to get right into it. I will be shuffling and laying the cards intuitively before you, so just lean back and enjoy your reading. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, we have the Muse of Voices. So the voices correspond to the swords in the traditional tarot, and I want you to know here that the Muse of Voices is somebody who inspires you. So this could of course be a part of yourself that is coming out during July that just makes you feel so inspired, but also just like rubbing shoulders with people who inspire you. So that could be by being in actual presence with people who you look up to, or just, you know, reading a book, listening to a podcast, educating yourself, based on facts as well as work done by those who you look up to, those who you find very intelligent, smart, and people who you want more energy of within your life. So of course, this doesn't need to be a big celebrity or author. This could be somebody like your parent if you really look up to them and their accomplishments. This could be a sibling, a friend. So don't feel as though it has to fall in a certain category, but allow yourself to truthfully engage in that, because I see here in the Three of Materials that it's going to give you so many new ideas on how to build, on how to create the best possible career for yourself that you possibly could, okay? So just really educating yourself for your own financial future and freedom is one thing that I can see coming for you during the month of July. In the Seven of Inspiration, okay, and the suit of inspiration corresponds to the suit of wands in the traditional tarot. I see here in the Seven of Inspiration that you're trying very hard to stay creative and to keep any kind of monotone energy or energy that is uninspired. You're trying to keep that out, okay? You're not trying to let that near you, but I see that you're expending a lot of energy trying to do so, and you have to ask yourself if it's worth it, okay? Because sometimes as a Virgo, well, many times you can be very meticulous and a bit of a perfectionist and hard on yourself, okay? And you have to be okay with the fact and just accept the fact that you will not always be at your most creative state, or you can't always top work that you did by creating something even better. Sometimes you'll create things that are okay. Sometimes you'll do work that is less than okay for yourself, but you need to come to peace and to terms with the fact that that is normal. You are also human, despite the fact that you're such a hard worker and you're somebody who likes to get things right, and you too need a break every now and then. So give yourself that break and don't expend all the energy in the world trying to keep something alive that really just needs time to recuperate. Then we have the Four of Voices as well as Justice. So this is a very interesting combination here. I see here that during July of 2020, you will hear some news that makes you feel very calm and that makes you feel content. So I see that there is justice being served in this world in a way how you feel like, oh, okay, the world isn't so awful as I actually thought. The world is maybe not that bad. That is one thing that I see in the Four of Voices in correlation to justice. Furthermore, I also want you to know in justice that you may kind of get into a state where you feel as though there's not really much point in stressing over things anymore. There's not really much point in letting your emotions take over in a situation of injustice. The best thing to do is to just participate and help however you can. Just, sign those petitions, take part in, demonstrations, or just like voice your opinion on social media about how you feel, no matter what side you're on. Just putting your voice out there and allowing yourself to be heard, because of course, on my channel, I do not discriminate. So, whether you feel as though you want to fight for environmental causes or you want to fight for human rights, we're not discriminating here. One isn't better than the other. We have to just collectively all work on whatever just hits us and resonates with us the most. Then we have Get Clear. So I see here that July is a month for you that is really a month that is going to allow you to feel a lot more clear and a lot more sure about where it is that you're going in your life and what it is that is important to you. So clarity is something that will definitely just release some brain fog if that's something you've been dealing with. Then we have Answers Within, as well as Give Back. So we already spoke about this just a little bit when it came to justice, when it came to, for instance, volunteering, speaking up. I see here in Give Back that July is really the month where, giving back is your duty, giving back is your calling. It's not only going to make you feel amazing, but you're also going to get back a lot of abundance and a lot of positivity tenfold into your life the more you can give during the month of July. So don't feel as though it's ever too late or anything that you give could ever be too little. It is not, okay? So allow yourself to volunteer and participate in different causes that really just move you. Furthermore, in Answers Within, one thing that I can see here is if you've kind of been dealing with being overly emotional, or just what feels to you like being overly emotional with certain situations that have to do with yourself and how you feel about who you are, don't look to external validation. Don't look for somebody to tell you that you are smart, that you are hardworking, and that you are beautiful, because sometimes when we work in a certain environment or deal with certain people who do not necessarily want to see us succeed, or, it's not even coming from a malicious place. Sometimes they just literally don't even know how to show these emotions, and we feel as though we want so badly for somebody at work to recognize our hard work, or our family to see how much that we're trying, but it's not even on their radar. And we base our validation, our self-worth upon either receiving those kind words from them or not, and we can be waiting and waiting and waiting forever, and it'll never come, and you'll just feel more and more like a failure. And that is one thing where I see an answer is within. You just have to distance yourself from that thinking and distance yourself from feeling like anybody else's validation means more than yours. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're proud of yourself, then that's all that matters. If you like you, that is the only job that you have. So keep that in mind, okay? And really bring that to the next place. As I can see here in protection, that if you don't bring that to the next level, you leave yourself in a very vulnerable position. And being vulnerable is something that shows true strength, but we do not need to make ourselves vulnerable to people who do not appreciate our vulnerability. You know what I mean, all my dear Virgos? Like, you are already a very sensitive soul. You're already somebody who tries very hard for other people. Like, don't throw yourself out the window for somebody who is not even going to like poke you once you've fallen out the window and say, hey, are you okay? Somebody who's not even going to stop when they see you at the bottom, who wouldn't even like give you that minute seeing you lying there and, you know, in pain. So that is just what I'm trying to say. I know this was very like direct and upfront. Maybe we're gonna have to censor that part, okay? Because I don't want to seem like I don't want to like make this something that is funny, because, you know, situations like that of course have occurred where people got so depressed that they sincerely hurt themselves, and I would never like use that in a manner to, you know, make fun of it or play it down. But I'm just really saying, don't emotionally throw yourself out the window, throw yourself off a building just for somebody who doesn't even really care or doesn't even really notice. So emotionally is what I meant. Let's not take that out of context. Then we have openness as well as relaxation. So I want you to know here that the more kind of like open you are also with yourself and your feelings, the more you can relax. So I know it can be very hard when you've had this idea in your head that you need validation from either, for instance, your father, your mother, your coworkers, or your boss, that you need that validation in order to know, okay, I'm doing a good job, I'm doing life okay. And it can be hard to move away from that. I completely understand that, but the more open you are with yourself about how dependent you've maybe been upon external validation, the more you can start to relax, because at least now you know, like, okay, this is what I need to start working on. This is where I really still have some emotional blockages that need to be addressed. So be completely transparent and open with yourself, and protect yourself, all of my Virgos, okay? Like, things are moving into a good place when it comes to your earthly realms, when it comes to your job and so on and so forth. Like, you have things going for you, very positively for you, but July is really a month where you have to protect yourself, protect your energy, and just be completely open, transparent with yourself, and not hard on yourself. That is the last thing that you need, okay? You are valid, you are worthy, and you create amazing things. You do amazing work. So all of my Virgos, I hope that you enjoyed your reading, and I hope that you like this very straightforward and honest approach about your July prediction. Leave a little comment down below about your thoughts and feelings, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all my beautiful Libras of the world, and welcome to your July of 2020 predictions. So let's move straight into your reading in order to figure out what is going on for you, shall we? So first and foremost, we have strength. So it seems as though July of 2020 is certainly a month where you show your strength in a different way than you usually would. So this could be by allowing yourself to be vulnerable, or just putting yourself in a position where you're helping other people with knowing, okay, that you're not going to get anything in return for it, without expecting anything in return for it, and just showing who you truly are, and just the fact that you're truly just somebody who cares about others. Then we have well-being. So one thing that I can see here is that your well-being is really at the center of July of 2020. So you may have a little bit of a health scare, or just a situation where you're like, ooh, am I sure that I have this little cold or fever, or am I sure that I feel this way? And it makes you very nervous. It makes you feel very out of balance, which is something that Libras, of course, do not like. But I see here in well-being that, you know, it's just going to be a scare, nothing serious, but it's going to really put things into perspective for you, where you focus more on your well-being, both physically as well as emotionally, and you come back to a place where you're like, okay, I gotta stop eating things that aren't healthy. I gotta just put these chips away. If you're eating chips right now while you're watching, okay, and just coming back to a place where you have like a healthy balance and equilibrium. Then we have growth. So all my Libras, we have growth happening for you, which is of course always great, and change is something that is always happening, but sometimes change can destroy things and sometimes change can mean growth. And for you, we definitely have you putting building blocks together that are allowing you to just build your empire, to grow emotionally as well as romantically to a place where you feel as though, you know, nothing can bring you down, because you've already been through the worst. You've already been through terrible situations, you've gone there, you've come back, and you're still standing. So that is definitely one thing that I see in strength and correlation to growth. So you're very much an unstoppable force. Then we have the Four of Emotions as well as the Knight of Inspiration. So I see here in the Four of Emotions that while you're like have this unstoppable energy in the Four of Emotions, I see that you may still feel a little bit lonely. The Knight of Inspiration is the Knight of, you know, fire. Inspiration corresponds to fire, as well as the Suit of Wands. And I want you to know here in the Knight of Inspiration that this is somebody who is very masculine, has very masculine energy, gets things done. So this doesn't have to be, for instance, a male or a female specifically. I'm just talking about the energy that this person has, who this person is. It doesn't matter what gender they're of. But I see here in correlation to the Four of Emotions that you have a little bit of worry when it comes to this person, either because of where your relationship is at currently, or just, you know, the fact that you worry for their safety. You worry for them to be in a place where they're not taking on more than they can. So worrying about a friend, a partner, a family member is really something that can chew away at you. So I want you to know here in the Four of Emotions that you also have to be strong for yourself and sometimes distance yourself. You cannot carry everybody's weight and everybody's burden on your shoulders. You sometimes just need to like distance yourself from other people's problems and know that, you know, it's really not healthy for you, as well as, you know, just your overall well-being. Then we have focus as well as security. So I see here in July of 2020, the fact that you're building your empire, you're really building something sustainable, something that is going to give you long-term security. And in focus, I see that, you know, nothing can take your eyes off of it. So while there may be some people who are trying to stir up a little bit of emotional roller coasters for you, if you will, or maybe they're not even trying, but their problems do kind of like seep a little bit into your private life or how you just feel generally. I see that you're still in control of your work life. You're in full control and you're going full force towards the things that you desire, which is awesome. Then in pleasure, I see you having the opportunity to have a lot of fun, to enjoy the finer things in life, the things that you desire, and just overall being in a place where pleasure is at the center of your day-to-day being. In new beginnings, one thing that I want you to know here is that July seems to be divided up for you, okay? It seems like one part of July is very much like a part where you have to protect yourself, where you have your little health scare, where you bring yourself to a place where you're like, hey, I gotta change. Hey, I gotta really take care of myself. And then from the moment you take care of yourself, we have these new beginnings. We have this pleasure coming for you, as well as this like focus where you know that what is really important is you continue to build your empire and make sure that you can make a difference between just emotional qualms and things that you're going through in business. And then we have a change as well as forgiveness. So I want you to know that this will bring like a real change to your vibes, to your overall aura. And some people may feel confused. Some people may not know what to make of this new you, okay? The very focused you, the you that is very much taking care of themselves, who has maybe thrown out, you know, alcohol, tobacco, anything that is kind of unhealthy. But I see here in forgiveness that it's really about you just forgiving yourself for not taking care of yourself. It's really more about how you feel about yourself, not what other people think. And that's how it should be, okay? I can see here in well-being that just the fact that you had this little like scare where you're like, oh, am I okay? Am I gonna be fine? And that just really brings you to a point of understanding that you shouldn't even let it get to that point, and that the connection that you have with your body is of the utmost importance and something that you have to just spend more time engaging with. So a lot of clarity when it comes to that. So all of my beautiful Libras, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my beautiful Scorpios of the world, and welcome to your reading about July of 2020. So let's get right into it, shall we? So first and foremost, I'm just going to start off with my tarot deck. I'm going to be laying and shuffling all the cards intuitively, so just lean back and enjoy. So you have the Nine of Emotions as well as the Tower. So one thing that I can see here is, despite the fact that craziness is going on around you, you're in control, okay? And as a water sign, you may think to yourself, me in control of my emotions? Girl, bye. Girl, please. But I can see here in the Nine of Emotions that you're in a very centered place. You don't allow things to get to you, okay? Because that is one thing that a lot of water signs are guilty of. They let other people's problems get to them and just really consume them. But I just see you in a very zen and meditative place. This may be because you are engaging a lot more in meditation, or just because overall, you know, it's just a month where you feel like the celestial events are aligning in a way how you can feel that inner calmness that you have been missing. In the Tower, furthermore, I want you to know that this is really all about destruction. This is all about things just hitting the fan, if you will. And it's important for you to know that sometimes that is required. Sometimes things need to crumble down and we need to just rebuild upon a solid foundation, a fair foundation, in order for things to work out in this world. So allow yourself to know that things breaking down is always a chance and an opportunity for new beautiful things to be built. And the Ace of Voices, one thing that I can tell here is just the fact that you're kind of starting off on a completely fresh note that may be new to you when it comes to communication. So as I said, you're in a very zen place where you feel as though everything is just kind of in control. And in the Ace of Voices, I see that this gives you a very discerning and assertive voice, a very calm demeanor that allows you to be able to convey your messages and your opinions in a way how you're being heard, and people aren't able to just say, oh, you're being overly emotional or you're being overly sensitive. Not that people should say that, but you know how it can be when you're passionate about something and when you feel a certain way about things. Then in the Six of Materials, I see here that things are flourishing for you in the material realms. So if you've been looking for a job or you've been looking to add more income to your life, I see here in the Six of Materials that you will come to notice that things are actually in fact moving and working out in a bigger, greater, and better sense than you had expected. So sometimes when we start a new project or we try to create more financial freedom for ourselves, it can seem like it's so far away or it's moving so slowly. But I see here in the Six of Materials that things are moving faster and quicker than you expected, and that a lot of work has been done behind the scenes for you by the universe, your guides, your angels, and just overall the kind of energetic vibration that you have been putting out has been really attracting what you have been desiring in the earthly realms. And all you have to do now is use those tools, is use those opportunities to create more greatness. Then we have success for you. So in success, of course, you know, this just moves in really nicely with what we literally just spoke about. Know that July of 2020 is going to be a successful month for you, not only financially, but also spiritually. Then we have standstill. So while the world is kind of like in shambles, while things are crumbling around you, I definitely see that you are at a place where you're in complete, like, you're not in motion, you're in a complete standstill, you're in a complete place of meditation, a complete place of just complacency. So I want you to know in standstill that often when we have time to just observe what is going on around us, we can really just get a clear picture of who's a friend, who is maybe a foe. Also, what needs to be worked out in this world that people haven't been taken seriously, and what is really important to us. Who is really important to us? Just having a moment to think, having a moment of just complete relaxation, of complete standstill is more important than we realize. Then we have power as well as wisdom. So I can see here that people are coming to you for advice during the month of July. Now, if you're, for instance, a coach, or if you're, for instance, somebody who is in a business where people come to you for advice, for consultations, for you to look at things, I want you to know that this just feeds into the fact that you're doing well financially, that things in the earthly realm are starting to move at a pace which you desire it to move at. Furthermore, I can see here that when it comes to friends and family, just people in general, they want your advice. They want your opinion. They want to know how you feel about certain topics, how you feel about certain things. And I see here that they're coming to you during July because this new assertive energy, this place of just being in complete control over your emotions, just gives off a whole different vibe that all of a sudden everybody wants a little piece of. Then we have the yellow jasper as well as the apatite. So I see here that you will sometimes feel as though it is hard for you to control your emotions still. You may not let it seep through or let other people see it, but I can see here in the yellow jasper that just remaining in full control is of course something that you're still working on, that you're still in the process of perfecting. But I can see here in the apatite that it's so important for you to remember that it's all about progress, not perfection, okay? So be easy on yourself. Don't judge yourself for any missteps, mishaps. It happens. And if anybody around you calls you out on it or feels like they have to make that public or have to make that known, just know that that person is not really your friend. They are not really there for your success, and it's not something that they should be doing. I mean, maybe they're going through their own thing and they're just having a bad day, but keep a close eye on who calls you out on that kind of stuff. Then we have strength. So in strength, one thing that I can tell here is that just like your inner strength is something that you are able to rely on during the month of July, your inner strength is really shining through in the most courageous and brave way it ever has. Then we have a transform. So I see here that you're transforming what you have as strength into kind of like power that you can use. So what I mean by that, for instance, is, you know, strength being in control of your emotions to the point where you don't let them take over and get very emotional, you know, cry, yell, just speak in a way how people feel like, oh, you're just too emotional, I can't even listen to you. So instead of doing that, I see you just using your personal power to stay calm, to stay transparent, to stay in a state of meditation as well as openness. I see that you just transform any energy that would usually just be in friction, where you would usually just want to say, this is how I feel, and that's it. I see that that type of energy has just completely been transformed to a place where you can convey your messages more accurately, more calmly, and just in a way how you know that you're getting the point across. How people who would usually like to dismiss your feelings or like to say you're being sensitive, even for them, they don't have anything to say about that anymore because you're being very diplomatic and very controlled about how you speak and how you say things. So all of my beautiful Scorpios of the world, I truly hope that you enjoyed your reading. I hope that you found it insightful. Leave a little scorpion emoji down below if you made it all the way to the end of your reading. And wherever you are in this world, I wish you a fabulous day or night, and I'll see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all of my beautiful Sagittariuses of the world, and welcome to your July of 2020 prediction. So let's move right into it, shall we? So I'm going to start off with my tarot deck. I will be laying and shuffling all of the cards intuitively, so just lean back and enjoy. First and foremost, we have the Six of Voices. So you're being heard, okay? If you made a decision that kind of put you in a difficult spot, but it only put you in a difficult spot because people weren't properly listening to why you made that decision, and people just said, oh, you're being careless, you're being a Sagittarius. I want you to know that in July, you're fully being heard. People are fully just giving you the stage to speak about how you feel and why you do things a certain way. Of course, I don't want you to justify your actions to people who you know are not truly listening, but a lot of people who were maybe preoccupied with their own things or just kind of felt like they already knew the answers to everything that you're doing, all of a sudden they're taking a new interest in all of the things that you're engaging in your life. Then in the Four of Voices, I see here that you're just feeling very heard. You're feeling like you're finally getting the recognition that you deserve or you've been waiting for. And overall, I want you to know here in the Four of Voices that there can be kind of a tendency to see things a little bit through rose-colored glasses in love. So allow yourself to still be very aware of what is going on, okay? Still be alert. And especially if somebody is giving you a lot of attention romantically, a lot of compliments, remain alert, okay? Take the compliments. I'm not telling you not to take them, receive them, be thankful for them, but still keep yourself on your toes and keep the people around you on your toes. Then we have the Four of Materials as well as the Nine of Voices. So one thing that I can see here is during the month of July, you may be a little bit stingy on yourself, okay? So allow yourself to splurge if you can financially, but don't feel as though you have to save every little penny, or like something that can really just give you a lifelong amount of prosperity is not worth it. So for instance, there are books that are life-changing, that can completely change how you earn money, how much money you earn, and so on. I want you to know that the faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. So if you are kind of like in a place where you feel like financially you have so much more ground to cover, I want you to know here in the Four of Materials that yes, July is a month where you can tend to be a little bit more on the side of thinking in a form of scarcity. But if you just allow yourself to splurge a little bit on the things that you feel like you need, if you, for instance, feel like you need crystals in order to just like up the vibes around you, get yourself those crystals you've been wanting. If you, for instance, feel like you need a certain book to help you learn more about your personal finances or building business, don't allow in the Nine of Voices, the thing that I see here, this worry of spending in a way that doesn't make sense, or spending in a way that just kind of like shows like, oh, you're irresponsible or you're not properly taking care of your finances. Don't feel judged. And don't feel like that is something you're doing when it comes to these things that you know will support you and you know might make you a lot more money and give you a lot more financial freedom than if you didn't have it. Then we have success. So you're in a place where you're successful, but you can't see it. That is one thing that I see here in the earthly realms. You're not giving yourself credit, and that is really something that needs to stop. I don't want this to go on into July for you, okay? If you're watching this right now, allow yourself to look back at the last 5 years of your career, academically, professionally, and just see how far you've come. Just see how much you've learned, how much you've evolved as a person, and say to yourself, I am successful. I know it can be really cringy, but when it's cringy, you know you need it the most. So leave down below in the comment section just a little phrase, I'm successful, and I'll know exactly what squad you're from. And just leave it as a little token of appreciation for all of the success you've already had, and just as a form of showing gratitude to the success that is yet to come. Then we have pleasure. So while we just spoke about, you know, things in the earthly realms, money, so on and so forth, one thing that I can see here in pleasure is just that romantically, okay, things are heated, okay, you're getting what you want. You're in a position where you feel as though, you know, pleasure is something that you want to devote time towards, and that is really just making you feel like your love life is on fire and in a good place. So I don't want to get into too much detail about your intimate life, but it's good, okay? Then we have growth. So in growth, one thing that I can see here is that there's growth happening for you in a space and a sense that you had not imagined would happen. And I can see that here in being heard and finally allowing yourself to voice your opinion and voice your thoughts and emotions. You are growing in how to convey your messages. You're growing in kind of like really your public speaking abilities, if you will, knowing how to speak to people and have them receive your messages. Then we have hydrate. Okay, so have you been drinking enough? Have you? If you haven't, pause the video, grab some water, and come back, okay? I want you to make sure that you're staying hydrated. It seems as though, you know, you're not going to be in a position where you're taking enough care of your hydration levels in July, but there's a reason why you tune into this reading, right? And that is in order for you to figure out what to look out for. So look out for your hydration levels. Don't allow yourself to get dizzy or thirsty. If you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. And that goes especially for all of you who are having a very hot summer, a very hot July, wherever it is that you live. Then we have the aquamarine as well as the garnet. So in the aquamarine, one thing that I can see here is that there are going to be a lot of signs in July as to what your real life purpose is. If you've been asking yourself, oh, what is my life purpose? Like, what am I even meant to do in this world? I want you to know that July is going to reveal a lot more of that. And in the garnet, I see that you've been carrying some physical toxins with you or some emotional toxins, and these could be emotionally toxic people. This could be like physical toxins, as in if you know like you have to get a facial to just unclog your pores, if you know like that dry skin that you have on your foot really needs to come off because the more you let it just grow and sit on there, the more uncomfortable it is, or if you know that you finally just need to get a treatment for that like weird thing that is on your body, whatever it is, okay, you have to detoxify. It is time. July, no more excuses. Go to the doctor, go to whoever you gotta see and get it done, okay? Then we have the calcite as well as the malachite. So in the malachite, I want you to know that July is a month really of prosperity for you. So while your reading may have been a little bossy, a little bit like telling you what to do and telling you what's going on, I want you to know here in the malachite, despite all of that, you have prosperity coming for you, okay? And the calcite is all about you just finding the right balance, multitasking between what has to get done and the things that you just want to do, and also just crossing things out of your schedule, decluttering your schedule, making sure that the things that you have to do is really like a very precise and concise list, okay? So that you have more time for the things that you want to do. So pay close attention to your schedule. So all of my beautiful Sagittariuses, I really hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home for you. And regardless of where you are in this world, I wish you an amazing day or night, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all of my beautiful Capricorns, and welcome to your July of 2020 prediction. So I want to move straight into your reading, so you just lean back and enjoy. I'll shuffle and lay intuitively before you. So first and foremost, we have hidden blessings. So it seems as though July comes with a lot of hidden blessings, a lot of hidden just bits of serendipity, hidden bits of goodness. So this is one thing that I definitely want you to look forward to, that is just speaking for a very favorable month where you just have things happen that you think to yourself, wow, that's fortunate, wow, that's awesome. Then we have give back. So one thing that I can see here is that all of the giving back that you have done in your community, you know, maybe you've been signing petitions, maybe you've been helping out with your neighbor's yard or babysitting a friend's child or a friend's animal. And I can see here that you're finally getting things in return, okay? And I'm not saying this to make it seem as though you did what you did because you expected something. No, but you did what you did because you want to create good karma. You want to do something kind for others. And of course, it's also not bad if you get something good in return, right? If that good karma, that good vibration brings you positivity and happiness into your life. And that is exactly what I see happening during the month of July. So far we have a very favorable month that is just setting itself up for you. And I want you to know that, you know, as a Capricorn, you can sometimes be a little bit pessimistic, but you're going to have no reason to feel that way during July. Not trying to call you out though, okay? Just trying to be completely honest. Then we have action as well as happiness. So taking action is giving you happiness. One thing that I can tell within happiness, you know, we have these two beautiful dolphins. I want you to know that you are really the happiest when you're engaging in things that are a little bit challenging, okay? You don't like repetitive tasks, and where you feel like we have here in action, like you can actually make a difference, like you can actually do something here in this world that is of value. So I want you to just continue engaging, even if you are tired, even if you feel like you need a nap, okay? Take the nap, but then re-engage with your work or whatever task it is that is at hand that you know is a little challenging, that you know is maybe new to you, and you're going to have to learn a new software or just a new way of writing things down, a new way of bookkeeping, of doing things. Allow yourself to get into that flow state where all of a sudden you don't realize how quickly time is going by and you're just 100% engaged in that one task. Then we have the 9 of materials, which speaks to our time, our earthly things, you know, money, finances, and the number 9, I see here that you're in a place of bliss, you're in a good place when it comes to all of that. Your time management seems to be in a good place, okay? So do your finances. And I see here in the 9 of materials that it's really just time to enjoy and to allow yourself to know that sometimes you also just need to spoil yourself. Sometimes you also just need to give yourself a little pat on the back and say, hey, you've done well. So give yourself that. Then in the 3 of materials, one thing that I can tell is that why you have to do so is because, yes, there is still a lot of work to come, okay? You're nowhere close to where you want to be when it comes to your career, when it comes to your financial situation, as well as how much time you have to do what you want to do instead of what you have to do. So know here in the 3 of materials that this should not like make you feel like, oh great, there's still a lot to be done, which means I'm not very far ahead. Know that this just means that balance now is important, because you will always be striving for something. You will never feel as though, oh, okay, I'm done now. One thing that I can see here is that, you know, when you come to a certain point where you've done well, where you've put in a lot of work, you can sometimes skip over the enjoyment part. You can sometimes skip over the part where you just feel happy and blissful and in a good place. And one thing that I can see here for July is that you're being urged not to do that. You're being urged to take time off, to take time to just pat yourself on the back and enjoy all that you've worked so hard for. Then we have the Malachite as well as the Calcite. So the Malachite is all about prosperity, and I want you to know that this is just a very simple message. You have prosperity coming into your life. Well done, amazing. And I just hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you take it in and that you allow yourself to just be immersed in it, to be a part of it. In the Calcite, one thing that I can see here is that, you know, you're taking more charge of your schedule. So people may try to make you work longer than you should, longer than maybe you're legally even allowed to, and just people trying to take a hold of your schedule. This could also be partners, friends who feel as though, hey, like, can't you make time for me? Like, I know you're busy, but I really need you. So allow yourself to say no to people who are being demanding just because it suits them, even though it puts you in a difficult position. Because when somebody doesn't even acknowledge that they're using your time, spending your time, and it's maybe putting you in a very like tight position with work or with your other loved ones, because then you don't have enough time for those things, or even for self-care. If somebody does not realize that and does not see the value in it, you should definitely not inconvenience yourself to give them time that they don't appreciate anyways. Then we have the smoky quartz as well as the diamond. So July is all about your self-worth, and we literally just spoke about that when we were speaking of not giving people the time of the day when you're very busy, who are not going to appreciate the sacrifice that you made. And I want you to know here in the diamond that you should appreciate yourself. You should love yourself. You should show other people, like, actually my time is valuable. Actually my energy is valuable, and I'm not just giving it away if I'm not comfortable with it or if I haven't taken the time to do the things that I have to do. And I see here in these smoky quartz that some people will kind of just like poof, evaporate, almost like smoke, as soon as they can't use you, as soon as they can't just get what they want when they want it. But that's really just going to cleanse out negativity, and that's all that the smoky quartz is about: cleansing negativity, getting rid of unwanted energies and unwanted entities. And trust me, they are going to make their own exit as soon as they realize you put your foot down, you realize what your value is, and you're not putting up with what you don't want to put up with. You're not going to be okay with people just like treating you as though you're disposable, or as though their time is more valuable than yours, because it is not. So all of my beautiful Capricorns, I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. I hope that it gave you empowerment as well as motivation. Leave a little comment down below. And furthermore, wherever you are in this world, I hope you're staying safe and doing amazing. And I'll see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all of my beautiful Aquariuses of the world, and welcome to your reading about July of 2020. So let's move right into it, shall we? I'm going to be starting off with my Oracle deck, and I will be laying the cards intuitively for you. So first and foremost, we have Answers Within. So I want you to know here in Answers Within that yes, you are a highly intellectual being as an Aquarius, which is awesome, but sometimes you can also feel as though, you know, the answers are still out there. There's still more knowledge for you to take in. There's still so much more for you to learn until you can get to your answer. But I see here that during the month of July, you know, you really have taken the time to inform yourself about the topics that bother you or that make you kind of like interested in getting to the bottom of it. You have all of the information that you need, and a lot of the information is also within. So as an Aquarius, you may sometimes be a little bit detached from your emotional realm, and especially when you're dealing with people, when it has to do with emotions, you can sometimes feel as though you need the answer from outside when the answer can really just lie within, that you haven't been activating or channeling your emotional side. But I see that July is just really kind of like encouraging you to connect more with your emotional space, to connect more with your vulnerability. Then we have Seek Seclusion. So in order to really just connect with that side of yourself, you have to be by yourself. You have to just give it a good think, a good little moment just to recharge. And also just pay attention to what you do when certain emotions arise, when difficult emotions arise, or when you don't know what's going on emotionally. Do you just avoid? Do you just run away? Do you just try and, you know, just brush over with the next topic? How is it that you react to emotion? That is one thing that I see that is kind of being held under a microscope during July. Then we have barriers. So I see here that one thing that is kind of like a concern, okay? One thing that you're thinking about is just putting up barriers when it comes to making sure that you're financially stable and making sure that you're in a place where your home, your kingdom is protected, okay? Where you are protected. So you may be looking into getting additional insurance or just overall putting your financial wealth, also your time, in a place how other people can't just access it without asking or without you allowing it, okay? That is one thing that I see here in barriers. And furthermore, in barriers, I just want you to know that sometimes you can get villainized. Sometimes people will say, oh, that's not fair, it's not okay, but keep in mind, like, this is your life, these are your decisions. You are naturally a very humanitarian, friendly person. You're very loyal, okay? All my dear Aquariuses, don't allow anybody to talk you into feeling like you're not. Then we have standstill as well as new beginnings. So I see here that within the stillness that you're just going to be a part of, that you're going to allow yourself to engage in, which seems really weird, right? Because stillness and just being complacent isn't something that screams engagement, but just being a part of that stillness is all the engagement you have to do in order to see like these new beginnings, in order to realize like, wow, I can actually do so much more in the emotional realms. I can actually get so much from my intuition, from my instinct, if I just allow myself to take it seriously and to be connected to it. Then we have wonders. So you may see synchronicities where all of a sudden you're like, wow, this spiritual realm, this realm that I'm maybe not so comfortable or familiar with, this emotional realm that make me a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. I see here in wonders that synchronicities are popping up, seeing the same numbers, the same kind of symbols, and you just realizing like, wow, this really is a sign. This really is something that I should pay attention to, because every time I'm thinking of making a certain decision, I get this information from the universe. I get this kind of like sign, if you will. So let me begin to listen to it. That is one thing that I can see here. We have openness, and that just screams openness. You being open to new possibilities emotionally. I mean, as an Aquarius, you're already somebody who is very kind of creative, who is very much open to innovation, new ideas. But I just see this being on a whole new level during the month of July, because you're realizing that openness is bringing you not only a lot of joy, but also a lot of answers to things that you may have not felt you could answer. Then we have multifaceted as well as Moldavite. So embracing unconventionality, embracing your eclectic side, that is one thing that I can see here that is coming from you finally finding the answers from within. So for instance, if you ask yourself, oh, can I really be successful when it comes to this business ventures, or when it comes to this business venture, oh, can I like make this relationship actually work out, actually last forever? I can see here that just delving into this unconventional way of consulting with your intuition, consulting with your deep inner knowing. I see here in the titanium rainbow quartz that July is just going to be a month that uncovers so many different layers, so many different facets of what you're capable of emotionally and what your instinct is capable of. So you will feel more connected than you've ever felt. And more than ever, like, you can just listen to your intuition. You can just listen to your gut feeling, and it's going to work out for you. Then in the Nine of Materials, I want you to know here that in the earthly realms, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your time, when it just, you know, comes to your finances and so on, you don't have to worry during the month of July. You're in a place where you know what's happening. And okay, we have a few more cards that want to speak within your reading. We have the World Cosmos, which is all about fulfillment, grand fulfillment. So finding your answers within, connecting with your emotional side is really what you needed to get you to that grand fulfillment. Then we have the Six of Materials as well as the Five of Voices. So one thing I can see here is in the Six of Materials is you just sharing the bounty, sharing everything that you have been able to receive during the month of July, you know, everything that you've been able to receive emotionally, things in the earthly realms, and in the Five of Voices. Furthermore, I just see like, you know, things that used to be a conflict, things that used to be difficult to deal with, all of a sudden like easing up, there not being so much tension, and things that would usually cause a lot of friction, just all of a sudden giving one another enough space to coexist. That is one thing that I can see coming for you during the month of July. So if you've been in a space of friction with somebody at your workplace, with extended family or direct family, allow yourself to know that like there will be enough space for friction to be a thing of the past for July. So all of my beautiful Aquariuses, I hope that you enjoyed your reading. I hope that you found it insightful. Make sure you leave a little comment down below, and wherever you are in this world, I wish you an amazing day or night. I'll see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all of my beautiful little Pisces of the world, and welcome to your July of 2020 prediction. So I'm going to move straight into your reading, and I will be shuffling and laying the cards intuitively. I haven't prepared a thing, so just lean back and enjoy. First and foremost, we have the 10 of Voices. So all of my Pisces out there, I want you to know here that you're just done with the situation emotionally and you're ready to move on during the month of July, okay? You've tried to talk it out, you've tried to mend it, and you just see that, you know what, all I need to do is really just be happy with myself. If that's not enough for somebody else, then that is none of my business anymore. I'm moving on with life. Then we have the Muse of Emotions. So the Muse of Emotions is the Muse of Cups, essentially, in the traditional tarot, which is kind of like the King of Cups, the ruler of all things that has to do with emotion. So you're no longer going to be emotionally captive. You're no longer going to allow anybody to steer what you're doing. You're not going to be emotionally blackmailed anymore. I just see you finally standing up for yourself, because as a Pisces, you can sometimes be a little bit like weak-willed and easy to influence by people who want to take advantage of your kindness and your tenderness. So one thing that I can see here is you just really like hardening up, okay? In the 10 of Emotions, I see that this is bringing you so much satisfaction. We have the number 10, which is all about completion, fulfillment. Like this is something that you've needed. This is something that you've had to do, that you know you've had to do for a long time, and you're finally doing it. You're finally just like allowing yourself to set healthy boundaries, as well as move on from situations that you can tell are just like endless cycles. For instance, arguing with somebody who has some sort of issue that they're dealing with mentally, and you just know it's always the same cycle. It's toxic to you while it's fueling them. So, you know, just getting yourself out of any of those types of situations. Then we have the 10 of Inspiration, as well as the Awakening. So I want to talk to you here about the fact that we have so much completion within your reading. I see that July is definitely a month that is going to kind of like turn the year around, if you will. The 10 of Inspiration is all about the completion of a phase in your life where you're working on something that makes you just really like light up and feel passionate. So if one of those projects just comes to an abrupt halt or an abrupt end, a project that you really enjoyed working on, something that gave you stability, allow yourself to just seek out a new hobby, a new project that you can feel passionate about, because you need that. One thing I can see here in Awakening is just kind of like your heart portal opening and so much of a deeper understanding about the world as well as other people and their needs. So you've always been pretty connected as a Pisces. You've always been very empathetic, but I just see it coming to a new level here in Awakening as you realize that, you know, sometimes you have to distance yourself from certain people for your own good. And this just also proves how much you love yourself and the people who are in your life who have now more access to you, who now have more time that you would have otherwise given to somebody who is essentially an emotional vampire. Then we have Openness. So July is just all about you kind of like receiving, all about you finally having reciprocity in your life. So in your emotional relationships, just relationships in general, in your connections, if you're usually the one giving, I see here in Openness that this is finally a time to receive. This is finally a time where people are giving back to you. Then we have standstill. So in standstill, I want you to be very weary of standing in the same place for too long, of not moving forward for too long. That is one thing that I see kind of like as a danger. When you get comfortable in a certain situation, it can be hard for you to get yourself into a position of discomfort in order to grow. But in standstill, I want you to know that July is going to bring things to a situation where you're done, where you ideally need to look for the new challenge and the next thing for yourself to do, the next thing for you to conquer and accomplish. But there may be some procrastination here, okay? There may be a part of you that is very comfortable in July and just wants to remain in a comfortable position. And I'm not judging, just letting you know what the universe has to say about that. Then we have kindness as well as breathe. So one thing that I can see here is that, you may be a little bit worried that when you start putting your foot down, start setting boundaries, that people may kind of like mistake your kindness or what was your kindness for like weakness, and now all of a sudden that your kindness is not there anymore, or basically you're not allowing them to walk all over you anymore. All of a sudden they want to assassinate your character. All of a sudden it's all about like, why are you doing this? Like, how dare you cut me off? Like, you used to do this, why are you not doing it anymore? All of a sudden you start to see all of these expectations that were set upon you, all of this free work you were apparently supposed to do because you're a nice person, and if you don't do it, you're not. And it's just like, I just see you just, in standstill, just standing there just like this, just like, okay, so that is how you feel. So that is how it was. And I see here in breathe that it just really gives you like time to reevaluate people, the type of people who you want around yourself, as well as just time to bring yourself to a place where you don't instantly react and you don't feel like you have to defend yourself. So just like this very confident demeanor is what I see within you in July. Confidence that you haven't experienced in a while or for a long time, but all of a sudden like, oh, it's there. In the Two of Materials, I want you to know here that it's going to be a bit of a balancing act between your professional life as well as your personal life, but you've got it under control. It may be a little bit strenuous at some times because you do have a lot of obligations, a lot of things to do, but it'll be fine. In the Seven of Emotions, I see here that you have choices, you have different ways in which you can react, and you continuously choose the right thing, the right way that you want to react, the right way how you want to portray yourself. You want to portray yourself as somebody who is open, but at the same time has a backbone, okay? At the same time as somebody who is not going to allow others to walk all over them. So I definitely see in the Seven of Emotions that you will reconsider going back to your old ways, but it's just not that attractive once you get a taste of what it's like to be in full control of yourself and your surroundings. Then we have the lapis lazuli as well as the azurite. So one thing I see in the lapis lazuli is just this epiphany of, wow, this is like amazing. I love being more in control. I love having just stronger will, more of a backbone, and also being able to defraud certain people and situations. And in the azurite, one thing that this brings you in July is deep emotional healing, just coming to a point where you're ready to heal from the things that you did in the past or the things that you didn't do in the past, the sort of behaviors that you allowed people to maybe just express around you or with you, and saying to yourself like, hey, I'm a kind person. If people mistake that for weakness, that is on them. That says more about them than it does about me. And just moving forward with a very pure, clean slate about who you are, and knowing more about yourself, knowing more about who you are at your core and what your values are, and standing by those, Pisces. So one thing that I definitely see here is empowerment. I hope this reading empowered you. I hope it motivated you, and I hope it made you excited for July and everything that is yet to come. So wherever you are in this world, all my beautiful Pisces, I hope you're having an amazing day or night, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.